Hello, yogis. Welcome to the fourth of the yoga sequences at Bend Over Backwards Yoga here in Nanaimo. Today, we're going to take our awareness inward. In other words, we're going to notice what the mind is doing. One of the definitions of yoga in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is Chitta Vritti Nirodhaha. That's Sanskrit. In English, it's translated, yoga is ceasing the restless fluctuations of the mind. And what that means is that yoga acts on the mind, and the body is the instrument that we use to focus the mind. In our practice today, we're going into the back body, but we're going to begin on our hands and knees, using a blanket as a kneeling pad for those of you for whom the knees might be a little bit tender in a kneeling position. This is what it looks like. Take your blanket and fold it thickly enough that it protects your knee joints. And then come onto all fours like this. I'm pulling my blanket under the knees and setting the hands just in front of the shoulders. In yesterday's sequence, we talked about the base of the pose. Here, the base of the pose are the hands, the knees, the shins, and the feet. The hands press down, thumb mound, index finger mound. The knees and shins press down, the ankles and the tops of the feet press down. And from here now, as I exhale, as I breathe out, I push the sits bones back towards the heels and look toward the floor. Not dropping the head, but just looking down. When I start to inhale, I come up onto all fours. Exhaling, I push back. Long, slow, soft exhalation, sits bones reaching back toward the heels, face looking down. As I start to inhale, I move up. Your breath rhythm might be shorter or longer than mine, and so you'll follow your breath rhythm, pushing back on the exhale, coming up to all fours on the inhale, like that. You can do this 4 or 5 or 6 times at your pace, and remember, yogis, you can pause the video anytime. For the next action, with the hands and feet just as they are, I reach back with one foot, one leg. I look back to see, is that foot facing the floor? I broaden that buttocks away from the spine and lift the abdomen into the body and lift the inner arms up to the shoulder joints. And then bring the knee down beside its neighbor knee, press down to the shin, the ankle, and the foot, and reach back with the opposite leg, like this. All the while, the abdomen is gently gathered into the body. We go back and forth in this way, reaching back, and then stretch the opposite arm forward at about the level of your ear. Set the hand down, set the knee down. Opposite side. Press back. The knee faces the floor, the shin faces the floor, the toes face the floor. The opposite arm is lengthening from the sides of the rib cage, right out to the fingertips. And then sit back on your heels for a moment. And turn now to face the wall. Take your kneeling pad with you. The chair is going to face your back body. As you take your knees onto the kneeling pad, press your thighs against the wall. Stretch the shins back, press down into the shins, press down into the ankles and the feet, and just look back to see, are the feet coming straight back or are they sickling like that? Let the feet come straight back. Press all 10 toenails down and place your hands at the low side ribs, the floating ribs. Then, as if you could pull the paint down the wall, lift the chest up and coil it away from the wall. To come back to the wall, bring your breastbone back. Now, take your hands to the top of the buttock, like this. We did this in the sequence yesterday. Press down from the top of the buttock, lengthening the top of the buttock down, and lift up from the lumbar spine in this way. So this portion of the back is lengthening. Top of the buttock down, lumbar spine up, elbows snuggled into the side body. The chest is lifting and the head is following the arc of the spine like this. Chest comes back to the wall. Again, thighs press the wall, pubic bone lifts, chest lifts. The upper back body is moving into the spine as the chest lifts as we look up. In our final action in this posture, we'll bring our chair close in like this. Then, resuming the entrance for this posture, thighs to the wall, top of the buttock down, upper back into the body, reach back with the palms and press the palms into the chair and lift the sides of the rib cage even more in Ustrasana, the camel pose. The pubic bone is lifting up the wall, the top of the buttock is moving down, the thighs are pressing the wall, the shins are pressing down, the feet are pressing down. And then bring the chest to the wall, sit back on your heels, and pause. Just pause there. Yogis, for Shalabhasana, the locust posture, we have the blanket folded and it's going to come under the abdominal region. And the feet will be able to reach back toward the wall to touch the wall. So laying on the belly, placing the folded blanket under the abdomen, you can see that the big toes are just barely touching the wall. The arms are reaching back and the palms are pressing down to the floor. In this posture, to come into the posture, I inhale slowly and stretch the chest forward and up. I'm pressing down with the palms to lift the chest. The top of the buttock region is moving back in that direction. To come out of the posture, I stretch the chest forward and rest the forehead. Inhaling. This time, I turn the palms up. And as I lift the arms, the chest lifts more freely. I'm pressing the shins down, the thighs down, and the tops of the feet down as I lift the chest more and more. Coming out, I stretch the chest forward and down. To come out of this posture, turn onto your side and bring the knees up to spare your back. Come up this way, and now you're going to take your bolster that you made by rolling a blanket and fashioning it together. And here this little bolster is going to come across the top of the legs, close to the pelvis rather than the knees. Again, we come on the abdomen. The arms are stretched back. The heels are stretched back, particularly the inner heels, which we worked on in the second sequence. Now, the job is to lift the legs. It's the inner thighs that lift up as the back of the thighs roll in this direction. Inner thighs lift more and more as we stretch into the inner heels. And then the arms lift, the chest lifts. This is Shalabhasana. Relax the legs, turn onto your side, and come up from a sideways position so that you don't strain the back. From here, we're going to use our chair for 2 twists and one standing twist. So we'll set our blankets to the side. We'll turn our chair in this direction, and then we'll sit sideways in the chair, like this. Here, the left hand comes in front, and the right arm sweeps behind and catches a corner of the chair seat. Rather than clutching the chair and pulling myself around, which could harm the back, the muscles of the back might become strained if we overwork, I press my hand against the chair and then work with the breath. Inhaling, lift the spine. Exhaling, turn. And be sure to include the abdominals turning. Inhale, press into the feet, lift the spine. Exhale, turn. Each inhalation, there's a downward movement and an upward rebound. And then the chest turns, the collarbones turn, and finally the head turns. Breathe into the back body. Let the back body spread. The left side of the rib cage spreading away from the spine, the right side moving toward the spine. Then turn the head forward, bring the arms with you, stand, turn your chair. Typically in yoga, we start with the right side, and so for the first of the twists, we turn to the right, and now we turn to the left. That means the right hand comes in front, the left arm sweeps behind, and we're in the position to begin. In previous sequences, we pointed out knee joint over ankle joint, feet slightly separated, the base of the pose. Press into the feet from big toe mount to little toe mount, inner heel and outer heel, press down. Begin with the breath, inhaling, push down into the feet, lift the spine, lift the side ribs. Exhaling, turn. The first turn is through the abdominal region. It strengthens the muscles of the abdomen. The next turn comes to the low ribs, and the floating ribs turn very easily. It's the mid ribs that are a little bit sticky. As you press down into the feet and turn, bring your awareness to the mid rib portion of the trunk and turn there. Broaden the right back rib cage. Broaden it from the spine and turn the head and breathe into the back body. Spreading the back body. Left side of the back body moves into the spine, right side moves away. Head comes forward, arms come forward. Preparing to stand now without using your hands, push into the feet and stand. And now the chair comes to the wall, like this. And you can use your bolster like that against the back of the chair. You can also use your wooden brick or a little pile of hardcover books like that. To enter the pose, stand with the heel pad on the brick. Step the right foot up so the knee joint is kept in its place by the bolster. Knee over ankle, thigh is parallel to the wall. The hands can turn out in this way to keep the chest and upper back spacious and broad. Firm the standing leg, and as you breathe in, push down into the standing foot, turn to face the wall with each exhalation. Keep that standing leg firm as you turn your trunk to face the wall. Head is last to turn. It gazes in the direction of the right shoulder. To come out of the posture, turn the head forward. Step down. Come off the brick and take the brick with you right the way around the chair so that the right heel pad is on the brick. The left knee is stepped up in front of your bolster, knee over ankle, thigh parallel to the wall, hands turned out. Breathing in, press down into the right foot, lift the trunk and turn. Each inhalation is an upward movement. Each exhalation is a rotation. The head is last to turn. And then the head turns forward. We step down. Yogis, this pose, Setubandha Sarvangasana, is a cousin of the shoulder balance. And it's a pose which calms the nervous system at the same time as it engages the strength of the back, which you're building with the previous postures. For this pose, I have my little home-fashioned bolster, blanket on top for a little bit of extra support, and the kitchen chair. Now, the kitchen chair doesn't work exactly the same way as the folding chairs in the studio. You'll hear a little crunching as the legs of the kitchen chair tilt, but not to worry. The wall is there, the chair isn't going to go anywhere. Here's how you come into the posture. Sit sideways. And then take your calves onto the chair seat and move your body in such a way that your shoulders are on the bolster and the blanket. You can see I'm using my hands to see that the shoulders are on. And then clasp the legs of the chair. To come into the posture, see how the feet are coming to the front edge of the chair? The chair is wobbling, but it won't wobble now as I step onto the chair. I'm turning the outer shoulder joints under, like that, several times, getting the shoulder joints under the body, and now holding the chair legs. Press the back of the arms down, press the feet down, lift and lengthen the buttock toward the back of the knees. The thighs are parallel. As I press down with the arms, I get more lift in the chest. As I press down with the feet, I get more lift of the pelvis. Stay. Stay in this posture up to 5 minutes. Maybe you need to build that stamina up little by little over time. Notice how many breaths you're taking as you stay in the pose today. And maybe tomorrow you'll stay a few breaths longer. When you're ready to come out of this posture, you lower your pelvis like this and give a little push with the feet like that. And send the bolster and blanket under your pelvis like that. Calves on the chair, arms to the side. Just take a moment here to relax. Pause. As we said, yogis, at the beginning of this sequence, that yoga is about stilling the restless mind. The restless mind refers to the fact that our minds like to wander. They have vrittis. You heard the Sanskrit, chitta vritti nirodhaha. The vrittis are the fluctuations of the mind, the wandering mind, the mind that goes into the past, the mind that does what my son calls future tripping, going into the future, and doesn't really like to focus, unless it's trained, on this very moment, on the present. But if we're going to get any freedom in these minds, we need to train the mind to stay present, to be mindful, to be bonded to the body in yoga. BKS Iyengar said the most difficult part of the body to adjust is the brain. And so in our practice today of Shavasana first, and then of Pranayama, we're asking the mind to become a witness for exactly what we're feeling and exactly how we're connecting to the body. The witness self is that part of ourselves which we can call upon to stay focused. We begin today in Shavasana 2. Shavasana 2 is Shavasana that's taken on a bolster. with a blanket to support the head and the neck. The bolster is going to be placed just at the floating ribs in the back body. And the reason we use this bolster is to lift the spine into the body and spread the chest to make more space for breath. Pranayama. Prana is the life force. It's the life force which we, in a crude sense, refer to as breath. But prana is all forms of energy, not just breath energy. So to come into Shavasana number 2, we sit in front of the bolster like this. The knees are bent. I'm feeling the palms to the floor, taking the palms to the floor and sliding the seat toward the feet and then coming onto the elbows. And I'm feeling with my thumbs the lowest most ribs and inching them onto the front edge of the bolster, like this. Low ribs now are on the bolster. From here, I use my hands and lengthen the top of the buttock toward the heels. One by one, the legs stretch away. They stretch strongly away. The legs are joined in this moment. And when they release, they turn out to the sides. They're no longer touching at the inner thighs. And then the upper spine rolls along the bolster and the blanket is pulled under the neck and the head. Glasses are removed and placed in a safe place. The skull is tilted from forehead to chin. Our clothing is eased over the body so that it's not restricting the throat. The throat is free. The arms expand out to the sides, away from the side body so that the sides of the rib cage are available to breath. The armpit region is available to breath. The upper arms have turned out, the palms have turned up. Then we close the eyes. This is the initial stages of Shavasana. In Shavasana, we are restoring energy to the body. We're taking a moment to refresh, to pause, and to take the restless mind from the outer body towards the inner body. The witness self now, observing, are we balanced evenly on the bolster? Or can we sense a tilt to one side? If one is tilting, for example, to the left, we would take the left hand to the left buttock, bending the knee, spreading the buttock out to the side, and then extending the leg again. Did that solve the problem? Is the pelvis balanced? One feels then into the back of the arms. Are the backs of the arms, the forearms, resting on the floor? Does that feel similar? Right arm, left arm? Do we have to adjust? So we make all these minor adjustments to bring the body into an aligned position. That means the body is resting onto the bolster and the floor evenly on the right side and the left side. Then we begin to penetrate from outer to inner. We relax the abdomen, letting it soften, spread, and release downward towards the floor beneath us. We feel for the inner chest. The linings of the chest, or the chest wall, is expanded by the inhalations. In normal everyday breathing, we sense, does the chest wall feel as if it's expanding evenly to the right and to the left?
Or does the witness self detect that one side is expanding a little more than the other? If this is the case, encourage the reluctant side to expand a little more, and watch carefully to see if it does. Then move your awareness to the throat. Relax the linings of the throat and the voice box. Relax all along the jawline and let the lower jaw release away from the upper jaw. This may take the teeth in the lower jaw away from the teeth in the upper jaw. That's okay. Let the tongue rest in the lower jaw. Let the lips touch very lightly. And relax the roof of the mouth. Relax the flesh over the bones of the face. And let the bones of the face relax wide and flat. Let the space between the eyebrows, that little knot of muscles there, let it soften and spread. Let the forehead be broad and smooth. Relax the ear canals. Relax the scalp over the bones of the skull. You may stay in Shavasana for 10 minutes or 15 minutes and feel free to practice Shavasana at any time throughout the day when you feel the need for refreshment. Now we're going to move to pranayama, still maintaining this position on the bolster. The witness mind is required in pranayama. The witness self is observing the texture of our everyday breathing. Do the everyday normal inhalations through the nostrils feel smooth? Or do you detect in listening to the breath a kind of harshness or raggedness? If that's true, can you relax the throat and let the breath come and go softly, letting go of any harshness that you detect? The second feature to become aware of is the space. In previous sequences, we let the hands rest on the floating ribs, feeling the space that the breath is occupying. We notice that the abdomen is not involved in the breath. It's this area of the body, in the sides of the rib cage, as well as in the back of the rib cage, that we can feel a gentle spreading. In yesterday's sequence, April the 1st sequence, we folded the hands like this to detect if the breath was moving into the mid-rib sections. Where in your rib cage do you sense the breath moving? Into what spaces in the body do you feel the breath coming in and leaving? The third feature of pranayama, of the breath, is time. We've been asking the breath to slow its progress into the body and out from the body. When the witness self focuses on the breath and you ask the breath to come in just a little bit more slowly than it might normally, and to leave the body just a little bit more slowly than it ordinarily does, you are affecting the timing of the breath. Texture, softness rather than harshness, space into the rib cage, and timing, just a little bit more slowly coming in and leaving, are three aspects of the breath work that you can focus on. As I inhale through the nostrils, I invite the breath to come in just a little bit more slowly. I direct it into the sides of the rib cage. As I sense the breath leaving, I ask the rib cage to remain open and spacious as the breath leaves. And then, at the end of the exhalation, a new feature of pranayama, the pause. I pause just for a split second before the next inhalation. Timing, texture, space. Exhaling slowly, I pause. And then the inhalation follows. Smooth, soft, gentle inhalation. Followed by smooth, soft, gentle exhalation. Pause. Smooth, soft, gentle inhalation. Followed by gentle, extended exhalation. Pause. And continue on that way for the next maybe 90 seconds, just a minute and a half, to see how things are going. If you feel any tension in the eyeballs, the throat, the jaw, the muscles of the face, the skin over the temples, then you're overdoing it. Just back up a little. Let the breath come just a little more swiftly in, perhaps. Or let the pause just be a little bit shorter. Or place a couple of normal everyday breaths between your special lengthened inhalation, lengthened exhalation, and pause. Follow those special breaths with one or two normal everyday breathing. And after your 90 seconds of pranayama practice, or for those of you with a developed pranayama practice, you may wish to spend longer in pranayama because you have the experience and the training. But once you've finished your pranayama practice, just stay in shavasana like this for a few more breaths, relaxing completely. But watch that restless mind. If it goes into the future, come back to this moment. If it goes into memories or emotions or images, just come back to here, to now, to these strong, healthy bodies, to this precious practice given to us by BKS Iyengar and his family, come back to yourself. Coming out of pranayama and shavasana now, let the hands come to rest on the front body. Let the knees bend one by one. Shift your body a little bit to your left. Glide the right hand under your head and turn onto your side and draw the knees up toward the chest. Just stay here for a few more breaths. And when you're ready to sit, press the left hand down, press the right hand down, walk the hands towards you, look down, and then turn and sit in any fashion that is available to you. It doesn't have to be a yoga pose, but it could be. Sit vertically, let the hands rest, lift the spine. You can close the eyes if you wish, or softly focus the eyes. And feel now, witness the state of mind that you're in. What has your practice given you? And what has it taken away? Has it removed any tensions, stresses, or unwelcome thoughts? I hope so. Has it given you more ease in the breath? More freedom in the restless mind? I hope so. Draw your palms together, bring them straight into the heart. See how the fingers radiate away from the heart? And remember, you can offer your practice however you wish. Perhaps to those requiring our support in this moment. Perhaps to a place on our beautiful planet that requires healing. Or perhaps to yourself and some part of yourself that is troubled. As you bow, you're taking the intellect to the heart. Mr. Iyengar reminds us over and over again that yoga is a heartfelt practice. I bow to you, yogis. I bow to my teachers who gave this work unselfishly that we could practice today. I bow to my son who has given me immeasurable support for these little videos for you. And I bow to those suffering today and wish them ease and freedom. Namaste.